I haven't got any circus skills at all. I can't juggle, I can't throw the knife at the lady, I can't tame the lion, and I can't crack the whip or jump into the small bucket. Can't do any of those things.
The thing that excites me about performing is that it's a release of any tensions that you might have inside you.
Ooh. I'm not sure whether it does excite me anymore, it's just the money.
It does me. The thing that excites me about performing really is the fact that you're doing something good, you're making people laugh.
Except the ones that walk off.
Except the ones that walk off, and, you know.
It's a kind of two-way thing, seeing people enjoy and just connecting with them, you know what I mean? I kind of like that about it, really.
You've got to communicate with the audience, but not to look at them, because you are apart from them, and it will break the illusion.
I normally try and interact with an audience, but with 800 it becomes really difficult. But I actually think I managed. And that's an amazing feeling to just see that you're making an impact.
Like I was doing a job in Brighton recently, and then had a real buzz about it. And then I was in Suffolk or somewhere like that, doing an agricultural show, and people had come to look at the cows.
I had to stand on one leg and do a raspberry, go arse over, what's it, in front of 250 people. And I bonked my head. I thought it was a goner. And I heard them, as I hit the floor, go, and it was weird because it took off. I just flew. And I was just so embarrassed. I was like, no, I'm fine, just get back on, I'm fine.
We spent a huge amount of time when we were on the road exercising. We would stay up all night long practicing our handstands. We used to spend hours balancing and tumbling and helping each other learn tricks and use our bicycles, that sort of thing.
I can do nothing like that. I can't even juggle.
Well, can I? I juggle with two things, but not with three.
That's not really juggling, is it?
No, it's chucking stuff up in the air, isn't it?
Yeah.
Apart from doing a bit of stretching, a bit of yoga, trying to get my foot behind my neck and stuff like that, you know, just to kind of loosen the old gizzard areas. Everyone used to get down and do bang out 20, drop and give me 20. So we used to do that. And then all stick our knuckles together like loads of bravado-y kind of, you know, blokey business, and put your knuckles together, you know, things like that, really, yeah.
You need to warm all those areas up, your body, and then moving on to your voice. And I start to hum a kind of there's opening your voice and going, you know,
many men, many men, many men, men, many men, many men, many men, men.
In Tooting Two Tutors Astute, try to toot to a duke on a flute.
Paba à moi, Tadala rigger.
That kind of thing, you know, it's all kind of croaking out. But it opens up your voice, it relaxes and strengthens your vocal cords, it warms everything up.
I don't find the clowns funny. I do begrudge them coming on. I find it quite insulting.
No, what I enjoy about clowns, I think they're very talented actually, because when clowns get together at the circus, they can do things that are very funny, like they can throw custard pies at each other and things in a very funny way to make a lot of people laugh, and you have to be very talented to be able to do that. You have to be an entertainer.
No, oh my goodness, no way. They're so horrible. They're really frightening, and I think a lot of people are scared of clowns.
And they're very funny, actually.
If it's badly done, it can be very sad.
Oh, it's totally embarrassing. Yeah, I don't like clowns.
It doesn't work out. You feel pity for them, and that's so awful.
Clowns are creepy, aren't they? They're not funny at all. They're just weird.
don't look like they're happy. You know, the way they're painted smiles and their hair. And I don't like the music, that that horrible roundabout music with, clowns aren't not my...
Slapstick just isn't funny, I don't think. Do you know what I mean? A car falling apart and somebody falling over. It's like...
The one I first saw when I was a little kid was called Doodles. Yes, I like the clowns. I like slapstick.
One of the things we least like about what we do is
working with each other.
Working with each other.
Yeah.
You're constantly having to travel with each other, work with each other, be creative.
Do interviews.
Do everything together.
If there aren't a few butterflies around in the tummy before you go on stage, you're probably not going to give a good performance. You've got to be keyed up.
You'd think after all this time I wouldn't, but yes, I still do. I still freak out and panic and fear, the audience reaction to me, and then I get over it.
You feel sick sometimes. But as soon as I go on stage, I think, well, this is it. I can't turn back now. I'm on. Oh, God, here comes the light. The light's going up. Inside, the real me is saying, oh, my God. Here we go. Why am I doing this? I love it when I'm doing it. I know I love it when I'm doing it, but why am I doing it? I'm glad I didn't have too much to eat.
We did a show a couple of years ago, and 8,000 kids saw it in a week. We had about 1,000 kids per performance. And the kids were like, they were 8 or 9, screaming blue murder. Oh, I've never been so scared in all my life. I must be stupid. And you get out there, and you look out and you think, they're just loving it. And they're completely engrossed in what you're doing.
It's knowing that whatever I take on to perform in front of the audience, actually, it comes through me. It's something that I take on, and it just kaboom.
Every time I went on, I could just feel the people laughing at me. It was fantastic. That gives me such a buzz. Such a hell of a buzz.
We turned down Freddie Starr, didn't we?
We turned down Freddie Starr.
Freddie Starr couldn't pay enough for us.
Yeah.
That was the highlight of our career, I think.
That was the
Really
highlight of our career, turning down Freddie Starr.
That's something I hadn't really considered, appearing on television. But if the chance came, yes. Yes, it would be a new dimension.
I am scared of heights a bit. I think I could get over it though.
The circus is, it's a bit boring, isn't it, really?
The best effective medicine is... I have no idea.
You see, I've had a lot of things wrong with me. I mean, I'm always going to the doctors, and you get there and you find out, there's queues to wait all the time, isn't there? Most of the time, and then, doctors a lot of the time waiting in queues, and, most of the time you spend most of your time in the doctors waiting, don't you?
Well, I'm sorry, I'm one of these. I go to the doctor when it's generally necessary. I mean, I ain't one of these goes for every pill, potion and tablet that there is. If I know what's the matter with me, I expect the doctor to do something about it. I won't be fobbed off by them.
Doctors have always scared me because when I was born I nearly died. I have 50% chance of living when I was born, and was in a little incubator, and all my eyes were covered and I was yellow, which was awful.
I rarely go to the doctor. The last time I did go, he thought I'd died because I hadn't been for such a long time.
Doctors and I are great friends. I owe a lot to doctors. They've kept me alive. I've seen a lot of them. They've come, they've prodded me from top to bottom, in and out, every end, every part of my body. And they cut me open, stitched me up, and did a pretty good job on me all over.
I'm the kind of person that's sort of a bit of a hypochondriac, and if I get a little sort of nagging pain or something, I automatically think it's something really serious. But then I never go to the doctor,
And
really.
you never shut up about it either.
I know, it's just kind of like typical bloke, I suppose, where...
It's not.
Should we rave about it now?
Well, it's these heart palpitations I get. You see, you never know when they're going to come, and they just... You got your heart jumping about all over the place.
Can't do with sputum, and I can't do very much with feet. I can't do anything with anybody's feet. I can't have all on doing anything with my own, and sputum really makes my stomach turn over. You know. I don't mind vomit.
I developed a funny lockjaw. You know, the dribble was coming out the side of my mouth. I couldn't speak, I couldn't chew. I just wanted to die. Took one look at me and said, "Oh, that's allergic reaction." He gave me my antidote, and immediately my mouth just went back to normal.
That's what I got now. I've got throat swelling now. I've got the tablets for that at the moment as well.
I've took a lot of tablets all my life, about 23,000, and I'm still alive. But at the end of the day, I think without them I'd have been dead.
I once had my head slammed in a door. That was good. I was saying goodbye to my friend, and somebody slammed the door on my head, and it was my birthday, and I had to have 5 stitches in my head, so I've got them as well.
I mean, I could have had a DVT, couldn't I, laid in bed all that time, but I mean, as I said, they gave me an anticoagulant. Anyway, I'm here to tell the story, so there's people worse off than I am, and I can walk about all right.
I remember having a severe cold which didn't shift, and I shared a flat with a couple of vet students who dosed me with Famil syrup, the main active ingredient of which I believe is creosote. So I spent several days smelling like a fence post, but it did the job.
You see, I've had a lot of things wrong with me. There was big problems with my eyes at one stage. I went in about my eyes on a lot of times and had to go to see specialists. And you see that, but what they do is they clamp your head in a big clamp, and they want to bounce things on your eyeballs.
I had an eye operation quite a few years ago. I flew very quickly after I'd had the eye operation.
Well, you can't, I couldn't be doing with that, and so I'm pulling my head out of this clamp all the time.
And it was a real concern. I shouldn't have flown because it put too much pressure behind the eye.
That's another occasion when they told me I could just go on my own way, so I got thrown out of there as well.
I've fallen for a nurse, yeah. I fell for a nurse once. This blonde, beautiful little blonde lady. She was quite nice, she was. Yes. I used to travel to Birmingham to see her on my old motorbike.
I had a blood test the other day, but I do not like needles. I don't like needles at all. I look away when I'm having an injection.
I'm fine with injections into any part of my body, but I won't have them in my mouth. And the reason is that I've
always been completely the opposite. I love injections in my mouth.
Really?
I really quite like them. In fact, the more sort of intrusive the dentistry, the better I like it, really.
Well, I'm not keen on dentists now. I was the last in Britain to be gassed.
They didn't use enough gas, did they?
Yeah, I mean, I did come round. But that's when they first started phasing gas out, because they said gas is too dangerous.
The big black mask. Oh. You can see it coming towards your face, and the smell of the rubber, and having all my bottom teeth filled without anaesthetic. Dentists. Just brutal. Really brutal.
Dr. Bewers, he was very good, that boy. I mean, I think he was the first one that told me, some of the many things that was wrong with me. I had a problem with the inner ear and asthma, what I had for a long time.
Got a small scar on my forehead where a child threw a brick at me. Well, it seemed like a brick at the time, but... And I've got a scar here.
I have no scars whatsoever anywhere. Have I? In fact, you count that as a scar. It's only a little.
Well, it is a scar, yeah.
Well, I don't count it as a scar, so.
Do you not?
No.
I've got a scar on my elbow and a scar on my other elbow and a scar on my knee.
On my face, my legs, my stomach.
And a scar on my other knee, my tongue, my head.
My arms, wrists, hands, everywhere. There is no one part on my body that does not have a scar.
I don't think I've got any other scars. Not physical ones, mental ones, obviously. I've got a lot of them, but you can't see them because they're inside my brain.
I was injured badly once. Somebody kicked me in the forehead. Being very young, I got up and carried on and didn't think, it had done me much damage. For all I know, some of that damage may still be there. May still affect some of the things I do and some of the things I say.
I've broken all my toes, I've got a dodgy knee, I've busted both my ankles and bent my feet back round so they're next to my shins, broken my hand and my wrist, my collarbones 3 times, bashed my head, knackered my back. But it's all been worth it.
It's great. I love smiling, I love being happy and jovial, telling jokes, being the butt end of jokes, but hey, now I can do it with a mouthful of teeth and I'm really looking forward to it.
I've had crabs, they were good.
They got out of hand, didn't they?
They did, yeah.
Ooh, hang on. Won't let anyone stick a thermometer.
Now it's a lot of talk, is what I find. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question again?
No, because it's the animals, they don't talk
These
about
are because we haven't got much time left. Come on, I'm watching you. Half an hour's gone, you haven't done nothing.
I think it's good to work because you get dignity from it, and I've done all kinds. I've worked in a hotel. I worked in this hotel in Teignmouth, and I'd be there at night, and I'd work on the desk, I'd help in the kitchen, but I also clean toilets. And why not? I mean, I like different roles, and it just means I can channel the madness in different areas,
I really look forward to going to work because I really enjoy working with people that have got difficulties and struggles, and I feel like I can make a difference.
I think just on a personal level, yeah, I do prefer provide a valuable service to them, definitely. I mean, it's not necessarily painful, but sometimes it can be a bit uncomfortable, me sort of like pulling at their cheek sometimes to get right to the back of the teeth. So enjoy the end result. I think that's what they'd enjoy.
Teamwork. That's one thing about it I like. I wouldn't like to work on my own.
It's over 100, isn't it?
Well, it used to be more than 200.
We've lost quite a few.
Because we're all getting older now, look.
Early on, when you're young, you kind of get too excited and you use up so much energy getting nervous. As you get older, now that I'm older, you just try and stay nice. You try and stay calm. Go away.
Now, when I was very young and first went with the folks, if there was 4 or 5 hooligans, sort of standing in the way, they would be told to move. And God help them if they didn't move. They'd get a bite on the bum, and probably a smack round the ear hole with a cape, from the policeman.
The thing about being in a lab is you're your own boss. You're free to sort of run several things at once, and it's a very social atmosphere in many labs.
Yes,
and ours was a great place to work. And in some labs you can have music playing, because a lot of what you're doing isn't using your brain at the time.
They use mice, don't they, for things?
What, eyeliner?
It's not nice, really, is it?
What, lipstick on a Yorkshire Terrier?
Oh, no.
I think we should all be in clinical trials. We have a moral obligation. Fortunately, I've never been asked, but I take so many drugs anyhow. I am a clinical trial.
You cannot have an effective working police dog which is non-aggressive. As they get older, all they want to do is be the leader of the pack. It's their instinct. And every now and again, he probably just challenges me for the leadership of the pack. So every now and again we have a little tete-a-tete.
I feel that if I've given my best performance and it's a good one, then obviously I get the reward, the pat on the back, knowing that you've tried to do your best for your coach. They've given you the training, the least you can do.
I do define goals and targets, but then when you get going, it's fun. It's just good fun, really. It doesn't feel like work. It just feels like you're just being really silly.
So sorry. My job is, I'm in the entertainment business, so, I'm a singer, actress, whatever. That means I do a lot of traveling. I have to fly to different countries sometimes.
I'm all right walking on the flat and downhill, but I can't go uphill. As soon as I start to go uphill, I get chest pain. It starts to tighten up. But what I do, where I live, there's a downhill slope down to what they call the co-op. I walk down there and come back on the bus.
It can be stressful, yes, as a runner, because you strive to...
When we work in a factory, we are looked after, aren't we? We have the dentist, the chiropodist, chest x-rays, get all our injections done and everything, without even going out of the factory, which is good.
The ideal weather for me is dry, about 65 to 68, I'm perfect. Anything over that or under that, I'm struggling, especially in cold mornings. I shouldn't really go out in cold mornings. I've been told I shouldn't go out in cold mornings. I shouldn't go out in the wind. And also, I should, just do what I can do. And I'll say some days I can move mountains, the next day I can't do anything.
You start Monday, Tuesday, you do mornings. Wednesday, Thursday, you do afternoons. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you do nights. But I've done this, you don't know if you're coming or going. Every 2 days, you've got to change your sleep pattern. It's awful.
It is very repetitive.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's very repetitive.
The foreman's always watching you.
But we couldn't
do.
wander about. We can't wander about. But if we make a mistake, then we will be severely reprimanded.
You hear about chefs being crazy. He was crazy. He would throw knives around. Thankfully, I didn't have a lot of dealings with him because I was, dealing on other sort of areas in the hotel, and I just kept out of his way. My friend got it in the neck.
I like that feeling of accomplishing something, but if I had the choice, I would rather not work and just have a really nice life. Yeah, I think sometimes you feel a bit like you're a slave to someone else, really.
If you work every day and you're doing something you don't enjoy, then life must be so miserable, and if you're doing something you don't enjoy, I don't know why you don't just give it up and do something you do enjoy, because, you may as well enjoy life because you don't live for very long, so you may as well enjoy what you're doing when you are working. And I really enjoy what I do, and if I ever did something that I didn't enjoy, then I'd give it up immediately and do something that I really did enjoy because I like to enjoy life,
I'm looking for a job of a sort of clerical nature, administrative perhaps, preferably to do with customer relations.
When I retire from racing, I don't even like to think about it. I feel that each day I can run, touch wood with injury-free conditions, then I'll run till I drop. Tactics are very important in a race.
I'm terrified of retirement. Terrified. I really like my work, and I don't want to retire now.
You can't be morbid, or you wouldn't be able to do the work. You've got to have a laugh and a joke. You have a joke, It's just you or them, isn't it? It is animal instinct there.
I think Feng Shui should be introduced to all office environments.
I'd like to have a go at trying to clean an elephant's tusks.
Can I just tell you something? That's not a human ear on the back of a mouse. That is one of the most grotesque misrepresentations that I know. It's a piece of cartilage shaped like a human ear, put into an epithelial covering. It's not a human ear.
What?
I love this environment. I mean, it's great fun. The one thing that everybody has in common when they walk through that door is they love their animals.
Most pet shops are quite loud because they have birds in and they're always sort of singing, if you can call it singing. And there's lots of cages. And sometimes if you can put your finger through the bar and tickle what's ever inside like a rabbit.
At the end of the day, most of it's the U factor, the R factor, you know. That's, oh, look at that, you know. Cute little kitten.
It's awful to think that we're sitting there waiting for somebody to pluck us out of the air and take us home and keep us forever, you know. But at the same time, I'm never brave enough to go and make the first move and go up to somebody and say, right, you, how about taking me home and looking after me and loving me and cherishing me?
I think, yeah, go for things that are obvious. Dogs and cats and the like. I mean, there's all sorts of people, they have things in their bathrooms and all sorts, don't they, alligators and that sort of thing. Wouldn't have it in my bathroom, I can say. Nope, wouldn't.
He's called Chester, and he is very long when he stretches himself out. If you annoy me, his eyes sort of widen a bit.
I don't think that I'm awful looking. I think I'm all right looking. People always say that I've got very open, honest eyes. So I think that I would be pretty nice to have around and have hanging about the place on the sofa.
I don't know. A lot of old nonsense, I think, really. So, I mean, you need to spend proper amounts of money on things, but you see some of these dogs that people have about. No, I don't think you need to spend a lot on them.
Dog toys, well, they love running and fetching things, so we've got balls on ropes, and lots of dogs, especially the smaller dog, like a Yorkshire Terrier, likes a squeaky toy. That's a high-pitched one, or just for a laugh, we've got ones that'll go.
We went to a friend's last weekend, and this poor little hamster's in this wheel thing for its exercise.
Well, it had a little car. It was a Volkswagen Beetle with a wheel in the middle, and it actually, by working the wheel, moved across the carpet.
Poor old hamsters running round on the wheel. Why do they do it? Because they're as daft as a 2-bob watch, I should think. Them poor bloody hamsters thinking, I could get out of here in about 2 minutes flat. And then they find out they ain't going nowhere. Just like the rest of us. We're all on the bloody wheel ourselves, aren't we?
Dogs are just stupid. People go on about how
stupid as stick insects. Stick insects are the most stupid creatures in the world. I mean, look at me pretending to be a log. Isn't that clever? Oh, I'm a little twig. Isn't that great? I mean, dogs are far better than that.
I think cats make good pets.
There's quite a lot of cats with bad breath, though. That's what I don't like about them.
Cats?
Yeah.
I like stick insects. I once got a train journey with me and 2 stick insects. It was brilliant.
I know, and I very much like a stick insect, but not as a intellectual conversationalist. I mean, hey, have you seen my log impression? Yes. You know, doesn't go much further than that, does it?
Stick insects don't have a developed vocal tract. That wouldn't happen. I think, though, dogs are stupid.
I don't really like snakes. Spiders I can live with, but I've never touched a snake. I almost did, but no, they're not our thing.
I feel isolated. I feel alone. I think I can hear something scraping on the outside, and I don't know what it is. I'd like there to be someone here with me.
Snakes can be dangerous to other pets. They can swallow things whole, and they do eat mice and small rodents whole without chewing.
Now, I like the furries and the tortoises because I've got tortoises. I love tortoises, but they're still asleep at the moment.
Oh, sleep's really important to me. Yeah, I mean, I go through passages when I need to have a lot of it, and it's just good. I mean, man, come on. It must be, you know, in the top 3 of everybody's list. Your bed, you know, I mean, top 3, top 2, top 1, maybe the top. My bed, wow.
Sometimes the pet, when people are looking, will actually do something to say, I'm the one you want. Here I am. You want me? I'll have me.
it's like I've been sitting on a bench with all of my friends. It's like being at a dance, one by one, somebody's come up and taking them away. And then there's just me.
How much am I worth? I would find it very hard to put a value on that.
On a good day, I would say that I'd be worth a fair lump sum.
Do I say £1 million or do I say £10 million?
I don't think I'm that valuable. I think I'm worth about £142 probably.
At the end of the day, if you're the right person, you can buy me for 10p.
But the rest of the time, on days when maybe I'm feeling a bit grumpy and I'm sort of having an off day with people and I'm not in my normal friendly state of mind, I wouldn't pay a penny for me. I'd throw me back and choose another one.
I want a price ticket on myself.
No, not at all.
No.
I wouldn't even sell you.
I wouldn't sell you either.
Ah.
I don't know if I worry about being left on the shelf, because at the end of the day, I've come through sort of many years of being on my own and having a really great time. And I think, well, if I was on my own, I'd just continue to live life. And if it was at this standard, I wouldn't have a lot to complain about.
I've sort of been on and off the shelf, as they say, really. There's been a time when I thought I was on the shelf and then I got took off again.
Everyone gets rejection in life. When you're younger, you're more able to actually cope with that, I think, and bounce back. And you're not on the shelf for long.
I know that it will be okay in the end, but I am very pessimistic. I think it's going to take a long time before I get out of here.
The icing on the cake would be the partner or the companion who would be there with me for the next number of years.
And so I'm nicely happy now in my life, having been took off the shelf, and that's like a nice family that I'm in now, and that's very comfortable sort of feeling.
Jill has a tendency, most mornings actually, to claim that at some point during the previous night I farted very loudly.
I think snakes and spiders are more scared of you than you are of them.
I have a phobia of being shut in an incredibly small space. My ultimate, the idea of being buried alive with no space in a box. Oh man.
I think the
first
egg came first.
I think
to give birth, so the chicken could come out, and then the chicken can have more eggs.
But where would the egg come from?
Oh yeah, but if you think about it, an egg is going to become a chicken, but it's being but then the chicken's going to be would be an egg. So if you think about chickens after the egg, I think egg comes.
Yeah, but maybe the chicken might have come from another animal, like a rooster. It's quite.
There's sterile waters somewhere, and the volcanic chemicals and all that have started life, and then we've evolved from that. What I do find hard is the fact that we've actually evolved from something so minuscule, like so microscopic, to the dinosaurs, to us.
I think that we come from some kind of chemical explosion that caused some form of life to be created, and that we eventually slithered out of the sea, and it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, but eventually we're going to be extinct.
I think we are a process of evolution. I think we are not the top of the pinnacle, we are just a branch, I think.
Yeah, I'm completely conscious of the fact that I'm actually just a cloud of potential, of which primarily water molecules. If you looked at me across time, you would see a cloud of water molecules form and momentarily become Brian and then move off again.
I can't bring myself around to thinking we came from the sea.
No, I don't think great-great-granddad was a fish.
Slimy then, wasn't he?
Yeah, I'm sure that we came from the sea, most definitely, because it just seems, when I get into water, I naturally want to start frolicking, and I think that must mean that so we came out of the sea and crawled onto land for some reason. I don't know why, and it's a shame. I think it'd be great if we all went back to being aquatic.
I don't know. I think we're more likely to have originated from on land because we haven't got we've got gills, haven't we? But maybe,
Well, they're always looking for this missing link, aren't they? And they've never found it yet. The connection between us and monkeys. I mean, what sort of idiot wants to prove he's come from a monkey?
The difference between me and a monkey would be mainly that monkeys, they live in the jungle and I live in Catford.
There's a train of thought that says that we came to this planet thousands, hundreds, millions, whatever, years ago, and in fact already did colonise this planet as an alien race.
I do incline to think maybe we did start from another planet, maybe we did come from another planet.
I'd love to see aliens or something similar on our planet. I think it'd be great to see how we kind of interact with them, whether they'd be similar to us or not very similar or something like that.
Would they be good golfers?
Humans were created by this giant cosmic cow licking a stone, and as it licked this stone, the humans rolled off.
Looking at birds evolved from dinosaurs. Yeah, probably could have done, because they did actually have wings, didn't they? Some dinosaurs years and years ago, didn't they? So it's the size of the dinosaur, and how do you get something like a sparrow or a little wren or something like that from something that's absolutely ginormous, this huge, great sort of dinosaur?
I don't know really. I've never really given it much thought.
Yeah, where'd you get these questions from?
Well, your evolution, that's all a load of rubbish, isn't it? It's not true, is it? It's a load of rubbish. How can you possibly evolve a set of wings? It's not going to happen, is it? I mean, I'd like a set of wings. I'd love a set of wings. In fact, if I could have anything, I'd definitely have a set of wings, but it wouldn't matter how many times I jumped off a tall building, I'd never grow wings. And even if I jumped off a tall building and then my child jumped off a tall building and his child jumped off a tall building and we did that forever and ever and ever, there is not the slightest chance that wings would grow out of my back.
We all started off much the same kind of thing. We all were waddling along on our bellies to begin with. And we grew arms and heads and legs, and some of us got up and walked, and some of us stayed down crawling around. No, I'm glad I've evolved the way I am. I wouldn't like to have been further back in the evolutionary scale.
I think we've evolved to our full potential. I think we have.
Possibly.
It's hard to...
Maybe not on an intellectual basis, because
I don't know, it's hard to...
more and more.
Hard to see how you can improve further, isn't it?
We'd be able to do some good tricks if we had a couple more legs. I'm sure we'd be able to work out some new stunts for the show, so that could be a positive advantage, definitely at this stage.
Depends whose legs they were, doesn't it, right?
I think, obviously we'd adapt in whatever way if we had extra legs, but...
We were, wouldn't it? If you had 6 legs, where would your arse be?
Yeah.
I don't know whether physiologically we're developing.
The only thing I can think of is that because we have such stressed lives, we're much more aware of exercising to release the stress, and so we're getting more toned bodies than we might have had.
I've got as far as I'd like to evolve as I am at the moment.
I'm searching, you know what I mean?
Aren't we all?
Maybe one day I'll just wake up and think, I have evolved.
One day we think you got there, the next minute you get run over.
That's it, game over.
You know what I mean?
I regard myself as a kind of ego-driven space-time meat vehicle, and I'm in the centre as the driver, trapped inside the folly of the monkey ego. But I accept that's limitations, but I know that the truth is that it's actually just a space-time version of a larger hyperdimensional information field.
Oh, jeez.
I just think, at the end of the day, it's about genetic transport. Basically, we're just hauling genomes along in a bag, which is our body, from century to century. I think that's what it's all about, folks, you know?
It's noticeable we don't get cold winters anymore. They're just wet. So, we might survive a little longer.
All green and slimy with googly eyes. Googly eyes and little thingies that go up in the air with round bits on the end. Antennae. Yeah, with a spaceship.
I don't believe in aliens, really. I don't believe in strange people and strange creatures and strange anything, because God wouldn't create anything that's not perfect and that's abnormal and strange.
No, I don't believe there's alien life on this planet. I believe there's something, but what we don't know. But I believe there's something that we've not been told about that.
What do you mean if aliens existed? Aliens do exist. Everybody knows aliens exist.
I think if aliens existed, I would think they're about that small. Some of them, these are the good ones, that small, and they have quite a big head, and they're very good at sums, and they have small legs and arms.
I've no idea what aliens would look like. They could look like anything. There might just be a ball of gas, or an idea, or a particular coloured light.
The whole conspiracy thing about aliens is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, why on earth would they visit us to fly around in some farmer's back garden in the back end of Beyond in Suffolk to just bugger off again? It just doesn't make sense whatsoever. And the whole thing about UFOs in the sky is just beyond me.
Well, what is a UFO?
You know what a UFO is?
What does it stand for?
I can't remember. Something. What is it?
An unidentified flying object? No, I've never seen one of those. I don't even know what one is.
So anything that you don't identify that flies past you is a UFO, isn't it? So basically, if it's a bird that you don't recognise, what's that? You get the book out, you can't identify it. That was a UFO, wasn't it?
No, you're being silly.
I've seen a UFO at a time when UFOs were being sighted in Lancashire. People were saying they had flying saucers going over the rooftops in a suburb of Bolton. One news reporter claimed to have taken a photograph, but whether it was a genuine photo is another thing.
I came beginning of May in 1984 because it's a beautiful planet. You can see it from quite far. It looks very attractive.
It's not as striking, the difference that people expect when they ask, how different is it than home? I mean, you hate to lapse into this whole stereotype about how the English people are who live around me.
We have radionic equipment, which we call spiritual energy radiators, which have been in operation now for over 30 years. Every unselfish action is potentized by spiritual energy radiators.
You have here like shopping centers, which are like community centers nowadays. You have people on Saturday take their children to shopping center, like probably that's one of the elements of care and community programs they have now. They develop, strong enough medication so they can keep you quiet and you can just walk around and look at the bright, shiny things.
Yeah.
Makes you happy.
I mean, they make these models of aliens. I mean, how can they make models of aliens when they've never ever seen aliens? You know what I mean? Is that is that a fuss? You know?
Yeah, but
but is it?
Yeah,
you know
but
what I mean?
you're allowed to have that imagination, aren't you?
Yeah, but I mean, how can they mould an alien when they've not seen an alien?
Well, if somebody asks you what's an alien look like...
Well, I couldn't tell them because I don't know, because I've never seen one.
If they say, right, what do you think it looks like?
Well, again, I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't know.
Yeah, but wouldn't you go at saying, I think they might look like this, or...
Well, they could be 2 foot tall.
Well, I think a lot of the portrayal of aliens comes from people who say they've seen aliens or they've been beamed up by aliens. Some of these stories people come out with.
Do you think they are stories, or do you think they're true?
There's no doubt in my mind that these people have had an experience.
No, I think that's nonsense, to be honest. I think people have either had too much to drink or they've just got very imaginative imaginations.
I reckon they've been on some sort of wacky-backy type stuff, I reckon, if they're saying they've been abducted by it. So
they glow in the dark, like, you know.
The first few months in this country, I had to learn that you do not kiss everybody to say hello. And I did with the postman. I opened the door, there was the postman, I gave him a kiss on his cheek twice or whatever. And he was absolutely shocked.
I loved the weather here. And I know that sounds crazy because everyone always complains about the weather here. Oh, it's very temperate. Living in the city, you hardly ever have a freeze. And when you do have snow, it's pretty and it melts when it hits the ground, which is ideal.
Yeah, I reckon there's quite a few of them roaming around the planet at the moment. And
Well, I think just the opposite. To be honest, I don't think at this particular time aliens do not exist. Until someone comes up with the proof that they are existing.
There's a lot of proof that they exist on other planets, isn't there?
You know, it may not be kind of like we might be looking at sort of, looking at things in other dimensions, other planes. Doesn't have to be travelling through long distances, things like the elves and the fairies.
Wacky people. Wacky people. Real strange.
This is home, everything is a bit upside down, but that's the way it is.
But it's becoming level.
I've learned that it's very important to be polite.
Yes.
You have to remember to say certain amount of thank yous and sorries. You have to say sorry to people you shouldn't really say. You walk on the street and there's a person walking in front of you.
Yes.
And suddenly those two people perform a dance saying sorry, and you don't know which way to move.
Yes.
I think that was something which I felt a bit amused by that.
Yes. Mainly, I just watched Jeremy Paxman.
Now, as to whether they visited us or not, recently, I couldn't tell you. They might have. Who's to say they ain't here now?
My theory is we came from another planet.
It's just pants. I don't believe in it.
Well, the difference between cats and dogs. Cats don't wag their tail like a dog, and yes, they do. Sometimes they do. They don't go. Oh no, they don't do that. And they don't sit and go. And they don't fetch balls as well as dogs.
One's got a waggy tail and a cold nose, and the claws are like totally contracted all the time, whereas the other one contract their claws and it's got sharper teeth and pointed ears.
Which one's which?
The cats are the ones with protracted jaws and sharp teeth and the sharp pointed ears.
Excuse me. I think I'm an oddity. I've got a foot in both camps, really, and I appreciate either animal for very different qualities.
I like dogs better than cats, though.
I don't.
They seem to be more friendly somehow. Dogs like greet you, whereas cats just sit. They can sleep for so long. No.
Cats can appear to be lazy, but I don't think they are.
They have big claws, like bears, and they look like bears.
They just sit about all day and get fed and go meow, 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 meow.
I find cats, they claw the carpet a lot. They're a complete nuisance, actually.
Meow, meow, meow.
I think you get more out of a dog in response.
Well, they're more interesting, aren't they?
I think they're thicker than cats, personally.
Do you?
I do.
Meow, 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 meow. And I go, shut up.
I used to be a chaser myself, but I mean, it's about what?
It's all about competitiveness, you know what I mean? You see these blokes and like, it's like I said, they've been let off a lead. You know what I mean? Like,
It's
and
like,
then like,
it's like
it's just more than life, man.
Watching hounds after a hare, you know what I mean? It's
I've been bitten by dogs, I've been bitten by cats, I've been bitten by... Oh, you name it, I'll claim it.
Once I was walking past a house and the door suddenly flew open and a dog with a head the size of Albania jumped out, and its teeth were an inch away from my face and its mouth was so big I could have lived inside that mouth quite comfortably, and I was nearly killed.
I've been chased by a Great Dane, a slavering big thing, and it frightened me. I've been bitten by a beagle. I've been chased by an old English sheepdog, which was, I would say that was a springboard into me becoming a Christian.
Mm. You always say dogs come sniffing at your private parts.
Do I?
That's one thing you always say.
Well, they told me they're not, that they're just being affectionate.
Dogs wag their tails to get the smell of their farts away, and the cat just walks around with its tail in the air.
Dogs I like very much because of their great intelligence and loyalty generally, and just so animated and, you know, great chums.
I don't think I've ever had fleas. I think the closest I ever got was scabies, and that was quite bad enough. So you would entirely cover your body from head to toe with this alcohol solution. And there was always this sort of nagging doubt that some part of your anatomy would catch light like a fuse, and it would just be an enormous blue puff.
I think the best thing to do is to put on some flea powder, which you get from the vet. But it's probably not a good idea to have a good scratch, because that makes it red and raw and a bit rough and everything.
You know, I've never had any breed that's been a kind of a pampered, you know, pooch, you know.
They breed these mutant dogs, don't they, and give them awards for how mutated they look. And if it's a perfect mutant, it's got a pedigree. But if you crossbreed it with another mutant, it's called a mongrel.
Most pedigree dogs, to get them perfect, they've got things wrong with them. It's either the bull terrier or the bulldog can hardly breathe because they bred into them, that flattened face. It's a bulldog, innit? And a lot of the breeds have suffered when they show a cross.
They look ridiculous with silly bowls. Looks stupid.
I'm certainly a loyal companion, but I have to say I've been let down a lot too in my life. I might be very loyal, but I do like my father said before me. He said, you trust everybody once. And that's what I do. I trust everybody once, no matter who they are. So I'm loyal to the point of disloyalty.
Cats, on the other hand, they are the clever ones. They give humans nothing.
I'm not a cat person. No, they're not loving enough, and they hiss a bit, and they don't do anything. They just wee all over the garden and leave brown stains all over the grass and just make a nuisance of themselves.
I've defecated outside, of course I have. You know what I mean?
If you step in dog mess, then it's not very hygienic, and it's not very it's just not nice.
You kind of get an antennae. The slightest thing, kind of, you know what's going on over there? Sidestep it. And if you can't sidestep it, make sure you come through it.
Because at the end of the day, cats, when they go to the toilet, they clean up and they cover up after them. And that has got to be a sign of higher intelligence.
That's a dirty, filthy business, and that ought to be stopped totally.
I think dogs are more, for a start, I think they smell more. Whereas a cat, you can leave a cat to it. Whereas with a dog...
Yeah, but if you've got a burglar coming in your house, at least a dog makes a noise.
Yeah, but you could throw the cat at the burglar.
That's a silly thing to say. Dogs are more interesting, and that's the end of it.
No, it's not the end of it.
We'll just have to agree to disagree then.
And I've got a lovely smile, as my mum says. So, I look good for my age too.
No. No, I think I'm... No.